is your process, and I think that's important for voters and residence owners to know about. What is your process for accomplishment? Because it was your work that accomplished our seeing those permits on the doors.
Thank you, Natalie. Well, like I said on my video, when I came here, there was hardly any permits. There were no permits, and I asked the manager at the time. She said they were sent off to some storage facility. I knew that was a lie because you have to have them here on the property. And I went to the town, and they didn't have them there either. And sure enough, we didn't have any permits. Maybe just one, and they had the whole plaza ripped up, and they were doing electrical work, plumbing work, taking the stairs apart on the roof of the mall. And I knew these things needed permits, so I questioned, red flag went right up about the contractors that we hired to spend our money on. And in the garage, same thing, they put pipes up, they drilled holes through the ceiling, and put the pipes right next to the sprinkler system, blocking the sprinkler. So if there was a fire in the garage, the sprinkler wouldn't be able to take the fire out in the car because the new pipes they put up were blocking the water. And I went to the town, and sure enough, they didn't have a permit, and they had to build a workaround around the pipe that they put up. And they didn't have a permit to put these pipes through the ceiling. And I have a complaint in with the town right now because that required a permit. He drilled a hole through the floor of the garage. They put a whole new drainage system in, and the town is like not responding to my complaints.
Okay. Is there a question for Judith?
Hi, Judith. Hi, I'm Gina Riggi, and I live in Tower 214B in the Galaxy. And welcome to the Galaxy. It's nice to see a new face, a fresh attitude. What I'd like to ask you, though, Judith, is I have been here for 17 years. I've served on a committee for many, many years. I have walked on inspections of the fire safety system when it was not functioning that properly. And I have also asked of the board, why don't we have a licensed electrician at the time? And they would always answer, we don't need one. Now, I do agree with Mr. DeLuca. There were no permits, and I always lived in fear living here of fires, etc. Things have improved, but I have been sued by the former vice president of the board. Other people have been scared because of the litigious atmosphere here. Would you promote using a very expensive condo lawyer such as Mr. Buckaloo to scare residents into submission, or would you allow people to express their opinions and concerns and to investigate them?
I applaud the question. Thank you. I am not in favor of Mr. Buckaloo, and I've expressed my opinion to many, many people on many sides of the association political spectrum. I think that he is part of the problem. He should be in no way touching part of the solution. Threats and intimidation to owners is out and must be out immediately. No one should be threatened by a lawsuit or threatened by any other intimidation. We've got to get rid of that right away. And if any board member even alludes to that kind of support, that board member should be charged in open session with that kind of behavior. I don't care who that board member is. That's something that I would do, and I'll tell you, if I'm on the board and I hear that kind of conduct, and not just with a lawyer, with anyone, I would bring it out in open session. I don't care who hears it.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great answer.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alan Eisenberg. Tower 1, apartment 34L. I'm an ex-director, and there are many issues that directors have to face, and many problems that directors have to deal with. Stephen, this question is directed to you, specifically. From what I hear, I'd like you to, for the record, set the record straight or just frankly answer as an elected director who's asking for the unit owners to re-elect him as a religious person. I'd like to know if it's true, false, what I'm going to ask you now specifically. You have a payment problem. Your history has a payment pattern of bouncing checks to the Galaxy. Even up until recently, I was told that you were 4 to 6 months behind and you just paid the end of December. You were also about 4 months ago in foreclosure.
Okay, I think we get your question.
Okay,
Time is up.
the bottom line is, don't you feel this is disingenuous? You're not being straight with the people, and it's against better business judgment.
Alan, I think he understands the question.
Thank you.
Gee, I wasn't expecting that.
I really don't think it's funny if you want to be
Alan,
involved.
let him
First,
respond.
It's
Alan,
not
let
funny
him-
if you want to be
Alan,
involved handling our
Did you
money.
ask a
Alan,
question?
let him
I'd like to
respond.
respond.
I don't think it was funny.
I'd like to respond.
Please respond.
There have been, first of all, there have been times when I have been in arrears, and each time I've corrected them. And I wish that I could say to you that I was a perfect candidate in that regard. However, I have other things to bring to the board. The point is that each time I have cleared up the arrears, and with regard to bouncing checks, there was an event 3 years ago, and I had written the check to the Galaxy expecting that I had deposited another check, and our client bounced that, and it caused the cascade. But I paid it back, and I paid the service charge. I've paid the other fees that other unit owners, so I've gotten no special treatment whatsoever. As a matter of fact, in that regard, when you talk about judgment and the impact of it, I'd like to point out that for 2 years I've been pushing the board to adopt interest charge on arrearages. And we're finally about ready, I can say, to approve that. I've been the driving force on that. And you would think, well, if anything was going to influence my judgment, that would be it. But I look first for what is right for the Galaxy. Now, I do want to answer the question about bringing down maintenance, because I disagree. We actually can bring down maintenance. There are a number of factors we can do. The first thing I want to point out, when I ran 3 years ago, I pointed out that our maintenance was way out of control relative to the other buildings. I had the demonstrated analysis, and now, lo and behold, we're able to cut in many ways. And so we can do, there are certain other places, and it's difficult to do it in an open forum like this, but we have many opportunities for further cost reductions relative to comparing with other.
Excuse me, is he answering my question?
Alan,
He's going off.
Alan,
I didn't ask him about the
Alan,
maintenance and what he could do.
he's-
Why are you allowing him to go on with some
Alan,
other questions?
Alan, you had your opportunity. You had your opportunity to ask the question. He responded as to the payments, and he's allowed to use his time to answer any other question that's been asked. He's entitled to do what every other candidate up here is entitled to do. Whether or not you feel it was responsive or anybody else, that'll be your judgments to make.
Okay.
And finally, with regard to the attorney, certainly I've had an open session, many disagreements with him, but I'd like you to understand that fundamentally it's the board that's responsible for these decisions. And as much as I may agree or disagree with any particular attorney, fundamentally the board has to make these decisions to stand up for the rights of the unit owners. This is why I drafted the election rules that provide freedom of speech for the first time fully.